Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review 3 Billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri. Very interesting title and very interesting film by Martin McDonagh, who wrote and directed this film. I'm a huge fan of In Bruges and Seven Psychopaths, so I was super excited when I found out that he was doing another film. And when this Red Band trailer dropped, I'm like, oh my god, this movie is going to be crazy. And it is crazy. It definitely is. And it takes you places and challenges you a lot. And the thing about this film is there's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot of moving characters throughout this film and what builds up to basically taking a microscope and looking at this small town and everybody in it and how something as potentially mundane as putting up some billboards can drastically change the fabric of a whole entire town. And this film is very unpredictable and takes you on a lot of different places, and Martin McDonagh does a fine job of leading us along throughout this film, trying to balance all these different characters. The one thing is about this film, the one knock that I might have about it is some of the characters get lost in the shuffle, and like they got some talented actors coming in, like Lucas Hedges, John Hawkes, and Peter Dinklage all come in and out of this film. They get their scenes, they're enjoyable, but it's like you really don't get a whole lot out of them and like a whole lot of resolution for them. But overall, this film is very interesting and very engaging and very challenging. I never felt bored. This film like steamrolls through all kinds of different things. It keeps you on the edge of your seat because you don't know what's going to happen. And there's a lot of things that the trailers don't give away, which is fantastic, that really complicates the story. And dealing with the tone, it's a balancing act in this film, from going from really funny to really dark all at once. And I think Martin McDonagh is such a great director that he's able to balance those tones and do a fantastic job of really capturing both of those things. And in terms of emotional impact, I feel for quite a few of the characters in here, and there's some really emotional moments in this film, and realizing that these are people. They're not just caricatures. They are people, and they have layers, and I'll get to that in a minute. But the cinematography done by Ben Davis, this is a really sharply shot film, looks great. You really get that sense of this small town feel, and honestly the town kind of comes alive with the cinematography in here. It's well shot, it's well edited, it's put together nicely, and it looks like a well done film. Martin McDonagh creates such an interesting offbeat story with so many different characters that have plenty of layers that honestly you don't imagine that a whole lot of them are going to have these layers. It does focus in more on a couple of the characters, like our main mother and the police chief Willoughby and this other cop, but everyone kind of gets their moments to shine a little bit in this film. There's two really offbeat characters. This young woman who works at the advertising company who has a thing for Caleb Jones Landry, and then the 19-year-old girlfriend of John Hawkes is one of the funniest characters in this whole film. The dialogue in this is very, very funny, very dark, very uncomfortable, and there's moments where this film really takes on a lot of different things and really challenges you to really think about some main issues. Like, this hits home racism and the church and cops and rape and motherhood and family, and it deals with so many different kinds of things, and there's moments where it really hits home and trying to find redemption and doing what's right. And it really captures the two extremes of our country, of like this far rightness and the far leftist, and how bad both of them can be. And when they get really extreme and violent and hateful, it's very interesting looking at Martin McDonagh from Ireland kind of looking in on our country and what he imagines what our country is really like. Then you have composer Carter Burwell, who is a long collaborator with Martin McDonagh, but also a long collaborator with the Coen brothers. And honestly, that helps with that connection of, feels like this could be a Coen brothers movie. Does star Mrs. Cohen, Frances McDormand, and the music feels really atmospheric. It feels very much like Fargo's music, and it balances an interesting feeling of dark solemnness, but also kind of hopefulness. And because there's a lot of that in this film, there's gleamings of hope among a lot of darkness, and Carter Burwell does a fantastic job of building a soundtrack around that. And also the music choices throughout this film were really well done too, and really helps build up the story and make some great scenes. And the acting, I already mentioned a couple of the other actors in this film. They don't get as much to do, but they do a fine job. But the main ones, so Woody Harrelson, I thought was great in this film. Honestly, you should probably get some Best Supporting Actor consideration. But the two powerhouses of this film are Frances McDormand and Sam Rockwell, are two leads in this film, and they blow this out of the water. And they do amazing jobs. They should really get a lot of attention come award season, and I really hope that both of them get leading nominations, because I could see Sam Rockwell getting pushed off to supporting actor, which probably from the trailers it seems like that's probably what he is, but no, he really gets a leading role in this film, and the arcs that him and Frances McDormand's character go on are parallel and very strongly connected, and so great in this film. Now, this is a sharp and dark look at human extremes and their ramifications, and the it factor of this is, I think this is a great film. Also saw this with my mom. She did not like it. I've seen 3 films with my mom over the past couple weeks and finally got a winner, and that's my next review, so I'll talk about that shortly, but I really love this film. It wasn't perfect. It was a little off in terms of balancing everything in terms of the story, but I'm going to give 3 billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri, an A.